on to the main kind of conversation we was going to have tonight. Joel, you finally saw Netflix's Devil May Cry.
Rolling, 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 rolling.
I've been waiting for
Oh
this
man,
conversation for so long.
it's gonna be so interesting because you have a lot of context and I don't. The most I have is watching you play it like on Twitch in your old channel with Diego years ago. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm kind of familiar with Dante, I guess. He's cool looking. Where you like this is like one of your favorite franchises, you know? So like it's so different. I'm like, I kind of know about this series. I liked their version of Castlevania. So
Yes. And Joby, I know you haven't seen it yet, but we kind of already went over this. Like you're cool with us talking about this, but of course you can interject whenever you have questions or comments about this conversation. But I think this will also be a good conversation to talk about like the idea of adaptations in general. So without further ado, Joel, I want you to tell me about your thoughts of Devil May Cry, the Netflix series.
um I think it was fun. It went unexpectedly heavy, and of course, the reflection of our own world. I didn't expect that. I was like, oh, damn. I was kind of expecting Yahoo Pizza Time on my himbo, which I got. Um, but still, I was like, oh, shit. They're talking about like religion and like people immigrating for a better life and, the people like who shepherd those people and then the consequences and people like, no, go back to where you come from. With demons, though, as the story through demons. So I thought that was really interesting that they did that. Um, Overall, I had a good time. It's like pretty good violence, music. I would have enjoyed it. Like if it was came out when I was 16 or 17, it would have been my whole personality. Like nostalgic teen Joel would be like, "Oh my god, this is amazing anime and new metal." Which is interesting. That they I don't know if that's part of the franchise as well. Like specifically that new metal music. But I don't know. I didn't know what to expect, so I was pleasantly surprised. I know you're saying some of the villains, they kind of like watered them down, but like I didn't know who was watered down because I don't know. Like I'm guessing that the one that I
Uh,
was expecting to see we didn't see. So
I'll save my comments
but yeah,
for us. Right?
it was cool. Animation was beautiful. Yeah, they made Dante like a real fucking idiot, which I was okay with. Like he was kind of dumb as fuck. I don't know if he's always dumb as fuck. I'm exaggerating a little. He's not that dumb, but he's pretty dumb. Um, yeah, it was cool. The I guess if I had one qualm, it's like how easily overpowered the ending. Like they're making commentary of the U.S. being like a militaristic superpower, just like we're gonna just straight up bomb the demon world. Let's go. Like they're nuking it and shit, and they did it quick. They're like lightning fast. Not even like just like for God. Fucking Kevin Conroy being an
Mhm.
evil vice president was pretty hilarious. It was cool hearing him again.
By the way, Kevin Conroy fucking killed it. By
Oh
the way,
yeah. He's like, you will pray to God that you will survive. Now let's nuke these demons. It's like, oh shit, Batman, why? But yeah, it was fun. I'm surprised it's getting a second season. I mean, it's one of those things where like I know I like this. I don't think it'll make it though, right? But I was like, oh, there's a second season. I didn't know it would did well enough to do that, or maybe just Adi Shankar was like, yo, we're getting two seasons. Make it happen. Um, I was actually going to ask you, Brian. We can kind of start me going asking questions, or if you
yes,
want to talk about what
please.
your thoughts. But
Oh no, I'll
the
let you know how I feel, but no, ask
oh
me
yeah,
questions, please,
I
please.
know we probably don't like it, but this mercenary group of like ragtag people, like these they get iced pretty well, but they had like pretty like distinct looks. Are they in the franchise at all, or are they just made for the anime?
Besides Lady,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, okay. Cool. I was like, oh, they're pretty
Fun fact
unique.
though, their uniforms were based off of Captain Commando, the Capcom character.
Oh, cool. I don't know. I was like, who the fuck is that? I don't know
A
who
very
that is.
old video game, Capcom video game character, Captain Commando.
That's cool. I did like the Mega Man cameo. I'll say that.
That was pretty cool. Like, and like the arcade
Yeah, the
cabinet,
Street
like
Fighter.
playing Street
I was
Fighter.
like,
Yeah,
oh,
it was pretty
finally, we
cool.
see Mega Man again. He lives somewhere.
It's a very Capcom thing to do to have other Capcom franchises like
Yeah.
Easter egged
Um,
throughout. So
I
that was a
guess,
good touch.
Is this storyline in any way an adaptation of the games? Like, or is this totally like a new, fresh plot line? Or
So
Brian has opinions.
I know I'm ready to hear.
I'm
not
putting
hurt.
my
I'm
ducks
just
in a
like,
row to like. Okay, so the plot about Sparta sealing the portal to the demon world is literally the plot of Devil May Cry. That's like how everything came to be, because Sparta basically betrayed all the demons in the demon world, closed the portal, found a human that he loved and like had kids and whatnot. And then
yeah.
Mundus found a way to get through and basically, did what he did. So that part of the story is same. Everything else that they do has nothing to do with Devil May Cry.
Oh shit! Really? So it's like a
Zero.
very loose adaptation.
What's really cool is that the White Rabbit, the main villain, is a character specifically from the Devil May Cry 3 prequel manga that got canceled. It was supposed to be a 3-volume manga and only 2 came out. I actually have them. I didn't bring them in here, but I have them in my bedroom. But that was like a character that was a very minor character in Devil May Cry that they brought back and actually did really well with. Like the White Rabbit, up until like the very end where they made him like a roided out monster,
Yeah.
was really cool because it's kind of a cliche at this point where like the villain just becomes like a super beef like mutant monster.
Oh yeah.
As like the finale where like other people have said it and I kind of agree that the rule of cool is that a final boss is cooler when they are human sized and they are walking towards you. Hence Virgil. Like nothing is cooler in Devil May Cry than you fighting Virgil at the end of the game, because it is literally someone of the same stature, same power, same size, but this dude is just walking casually towards you like he doesn't give a fuck about you. That's cool. Having a roid out monster, cool, it could be fun, but at the end of the day, it's just like, okay, But like everything else about the White Rabbit in this was like cool, great, because again, there was nothing much about him. It was a good arc, and like there's nothing much about that character anyway, so it was like, okay, we're seeing something here. That's really cool. That's an adaptation part of the show that I actually really enjoy, is the White Rabbit.
What about the super prison in fucking hell or whatever? Or sorry, what do they call it? I forgot the name of the demon world. Is that a totally new thing too? A detention center and fucking underwear. It's so funny. We're gonna build a prison for demons on their own.
So-
I was like, all right, okay. I guess we're here for
So
it.
to be frank, anything involving like the military and shit like that does not exist in Devil May Cry. The closest you get is like demon possessing helicopters in 2, but we don't talk about 2 because it's a whatever game. It's a whatever Devil May Cry game. That's the like this whole show is literally just an allegory for like 2001, like 9/11.
Oh, I could see that.
That's all this. They literally just took like a 9/11 allegory and painted it with Devil May Cry loosely. That's all this
It
show
was
is.
super patriotic. Like there were a lot of shots of the American flag. I was like, is Dante really like yo ho America? Like, yeah,
No.
I didn't think so. But I was like, interesting.
Dante is literally Wahoo Pizza time in between moments of him thinking about like how depressed he really is. That's Dante. Okay, let me just kind of go over some of my thoughts about
Here,
the.
before you do that, last
Okay,
question:
okay.
Does he actually turn into like a hyper demon thing, or
Oh
is
no,
that
yeah,
part of the?
that's what Devil Trigger
Okay,
is.
all right, okay,
That
cool.
that's what Devil Trigger is, and
He does like look like a fucking like
oh
common
yeah,
writer character
yeah,
too.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Like the designs have changed incrementally throughout the series of like the games, but like I would say the representation of Devil Trigger in this show is kind of like a cross between how he looks in 3 and how he looks in 5. So it's a cool
Okay.
look. Like it's honestly a really cool look. The Devil Trigger, I thought they did a good job, like design wise, pretty good.
Okay. All right. All right. He knows what he's talking about, everyone. This is what we're here for. He
Yeah.
I don't know shit. So
So
all right, Brian. Fill us in with your opinions and shit and truths.
I just need a cheat sheet real quick. Bosses.
Speaking of
in
adaptations, while he's doing that, another one I just want to mention real quick, maybe later, is Murderbot. Have you been watching that, Joby, at all? Because it's a good book series apparently that my wife has read, and watching it on Apple TV. It's pretty good with Alexander Skarsgård, basically this robot who is broke his coding and he can take care of himself, but he has to take care of people reluctantly. It's like half sci-fi, kind of dark comedy. So,
Okay.
the
I'll have to
adaptation.
check this out for sure.
Okay. To preface this, I'm okay if minor things in adaptations change characters a little bit. That's completely fine. For this show, you might as well almost rename all the characters. Dante, for the most part, Dante is okay. He is, for some reason, dumber than normal. Like, Dante is very lighthearted and he'll be a goof. He will goof around with, like, people and, like, his enemies. But he isn't, like, to the point where it's like, he's obviously, like, that fucking dumb that they made him in this show. Like,
Is he dumb, or did they just lean too heavy into himbo?
Joby.
It's both.
The answer is yes.
In the lore of Devil May Cry, Dante understands that he's half demon, half human. In the show, regular normies have to explain it to him in the most babyish terms of Dante, you are half demon. Do demon shit. And he's like, I'm not a demon. I thought I was just a superhero.
Okay, so he is stupid.
He is a himbo. But like not like the endearing him kind of himbo.
Right.
He's like a why don't you fucking know this shit kind of himbo. It's like the people are explaining who you are to yourself.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Now, I don't know if you guys heard the Devil May Cry game that was made by Ninja Theory, DMC Devil May Cry, the reboot Devil May Cry game that was like very
really
like,
short hair.
Yeah, very short hair, very like.
What are you telling me about?
Like British punk looking style. It was like a westernized Devil May Cry that only had one game because ooh. There's a term for that version of Dante, and it's called Dino. It's like Dante in name only. Well, because of this series, Lady gets to have her own Dino title. There isn't any official one yet, but there's literally Lady in this show is Lady in name only.
Lino.
Lino.
So
Thank
you're
you. There we
saying
go. Lino.
she didn't, have like a dad being corrupted by like demon juice
Oh
and
no,
shit. And
she did.
And wait, is Darkholm a thing, by the way?
No,
Oh
no.
fuck. It seemed pretty
So,
established. Damn.
Lady's history in where you meet her first in Devil May Cry 3. Like this is the prequel game. Lady's father Arkham does get down with the demon shit, and he yearns for power, and by doing so, he sacrifices his wife to obtain demon powers because his wife is from a lineage of priestesses, right? And so sacrifices her to get demon powers. And he is bequeathed demon powers. And it's like, okay, he is one of the main antagonists of the game. So, okay, Lady is there because she wants revenge for what he did to her mom. And because of that, she is very anti-demon. So that kind of part in the show kind of holds true. However, when it gets to the point where Lady fights Dante in the game, she comes to the realization like, oh, maybe not all demons are fucking terrible. Like, because Dante is actually a good guy. Like he's, talking, like caring about, knowing what it's like to have a family and having it be dysfunctional and having to take care of business. And it's like, okay, and she begins to, break away from her mold of, all demons are bad. Right? In this show, she is like the Gestapo for the American government for demons. And she had that one moment where she went into that fucking abandoned like apartment building that was housing demons, and she was hidden away by that family of demons, like the husband, wife, and the little kids. And Lady's immediate reaction was to point a gun at the youngest one of being a baby.
I remember this.
And for a split second, it looked like she was going to have her arc of like, oh, maybe not all demons are bad. To the end of the season, go back and reverse all that shit and go back to like bootlicking, like America hoorah, humans hoorah kind of character. And it's like, that's not Lady. Like it's frustrating because like Lady is a very popular character. Like people really like Lady, and to kind of see them turn her into like this, like basically like MAGA, like boots to the ground, bootstraps, pull them up. It's frustrating and then literally like they had that one flashback of actually seeing her dad, and it's like, oh, they just burned in a fire.
Yeah, I will say, like, he's like a superpower demon. A little fire stops him. I mean, you could leave it open. He could come back to season 2, I guess.
But then why? Because they've already gone past the arc that he's supposed to be in. Like, literally, this first season was supposed to be Devil May Cry 3, which is like the beginning of the story.
Well, based on everything you're telling me, I don't think that they're going to do that. I don't think
they're
gonna
not.
Do anything.
They're not.
They're going to do a super demon prison break Yahoo time with nukes. That's what it's going to be. And I think I'm going to
also they kind of forced Lady's character in the show to be like the one that has to have like the one-liners that don't work, and also swears way too much.
For this show, I would say, yeah, that I was like, okay, we got swear words, but it's like, damn,
but it's like someone
like I do.
But it's like someone's it's like the attitude of like someone swearing because they think it's cool. Like they do it way too much because they think it makes them look cool. That's what it gives off, and it's very off-putting. A lot. Yeah, I totally did not like what they did with Lady. It's a very butchering of her character and her character arc. 100%. Virgil. Virgil's the one that confuses me the most because
Dante's demon half
oh yeah,
brother.
so in the story, Dante and Virgil are twin brothers. They grew up to get as kids. When Mundus attacks the family, their home, they, get separated. Like their mother dies, and for the longest time, Virgil's presumed dead because he was not in the house when the attack happened, and so it was presumed that he was dead. In so this kind of this so this is why this one's a lot more confusing because they're muddling up a lot of the backstory for this. So in Devil May Cry 3, well, actually no, before that, there's a novelization that is canon, and it's Dante becoming a demon hunter, and by the end of the book, it is revealed that Virgil is alive. Like he runs into Virgil, they have a fight, and then they fuck off for a while. And then 3 is where Virgil's on his power trip, and Dante has to, go out, like fuck around and find out, and try to stop Virgil from fucking up everything. That story happens. Virgil spirals down to like a descent of basically servitude to Mundus because he tries to fight Mundus and he becomes pretty much enslaved at that point, and becomes Nello Angelo. Joel, the scene in the show when I forget who does it. It's one of the agent guys. Or no, I think it's White Rabbit. White Rabbit goes up to like the demon guy and gives him and gets the amulet from Virgil, right?
Yeah.
So the form he's in at that point is supposed to be Nello Angelo. It's the form that Virgil is in when he is completely mind slave to Mundus. He is pretty much not Virgil anymore. He is Nello Angelo. At the end of this season, when he's breaking free all the
He goes to
imprisoned
his human
demons.
form. Yeah.
Well, but also Virgil would never fucking do that because Virgil does not care about anybody. His whole character arc is that Mundus attacked his family. He looked up to his demon father, and because his family got destroyed and torn apart is because he felt like he did not have the power to save anybody. So he goes on a power trip to get as much power as he can because he does not want to have that situation happen to him again. And he's kind of like a little bit of a Darth Maul character because he is a very tragic character where it's like he tries to get power and he keeps getting knocked back down. And so it kind of feeds into his anxieties and like his poor mental health of like, I need more power because if I get more power, I will, no one will be able to fuck with me ever again kind of thing. And here you have him giving away literally one half of the key to the demon world to some random fuck that he doesn't really know. And then at the end, it turns out, oh, I'm not actually really enslaved by Moonus because I can transform back to my normal self whenever the fuck I want. And also, I'm going to like set free all of these imprisoned demons because I am the hero. I'm the good guy in this story. Good guy. But like that's literally not how Virgil's character is at all. He's a very selfish character.
Like some misinformation or some bad fan service, or it's like, what if we did this? And they just kept like, but no one said, I don't know. It's like, let's just do it. Like
Joel,
that's what it sounds like.
What if I told you that an interview that came out like literally a few weeks ago, before the show came out, the whole idea with Adi Shankar was like saying, it's like, I want people to appreciate Devil May Cry the way I did. It's like Devil May Cry fans are gonna love this show. And I'm not gonna be here saying that, you know, people can like the show, they can like parts about it. That's fine. There's parts of this show that I really do enjoy as well. But the interview that he had recently said that when he got the okay from Capcom and he started developing the show, he developed it with the mind that at the time, Devil May Cry 5 didn't exist. So it was like, cool, I get to create a new thing from Devil May Cry in my image. And he said, and then 5 was announced. And so that kind of fucked with everything. But it's kind of the idea. It's like he made the show thinking that Devil May Cry has been inert for so long that I can like make a new way for Devil May Cry kind of thing. Right? And it very much shows because there's so much that feels like it should hit, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that is like, what is this? Like this, like, and I guess this kind of goes into the idea of like what makes a good adaptation. It's like it doesn't necessarily have to follow everything right, but it has to have like the heart of like what is this show. And like sure, on the surface, Devil May Cry is like the Wahoo Pizza Time, you know, cool action scenes with, you know, demons and, you know, weaponry and like special powers and stuff like that. But yeah, for anybody that knows Devil May Cry, like, there is a deeper thing happening within Devil May Cry that it's not technically on the surface. But like if you're inundated with like Devil May Cry, like there is like stuff there. There is like battling with mental health. There is like the differences of like what makes a family, and you know how to like find your place in the world within like this universe that it's in. And it's like, this doesn't feel like that. You can put as much of like the Limp Bizkit and you know Evanescence as you want, which by the way, they got Evanescence to make a new song, so that's fucking sick as fuck. Like I'm not gonna disagree. Like it's cool that they had Evanescence make a new song after a couple years of them not doing anything. It's fucking cool. And I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do. By the way, I didn't even fucking mention about their uses of the bosses. Let's talk about that for a second. So in the show,
what bosses are.
So in the show,
other than Mundus,
they reference Mundus, which is pretty much the big antagonist of like most of Devil May Cry. He's only really in like a vague cameo in 3. He's the main villain in 1. But he is like the big bat. He's the big demon king that sets everything off, pretty much, right? You do not have Mundus really in this season. He is literally just mentioned vaguely. You do have Agni and Rudra, the two like big like orc twins,
Yeah, yeah.
like the red and green guy, or the red and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
greenish blue guy. Echidna, which is like the like viper plant lady.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I think they
She's
did
from
pretty well.
4. Agni and Rudra are from 3. She's from 4, and then Cavalier Angelo is one of the bosses in 5.
Oh, is he the Dark Angel guy?
He's the Dark Angel guy that Dante turns him into a motorcycle that also becomes like chainsaw
Oh,
great swords.
didn't happen in the show.
Didn't happen in the show. Them in general, they look really fucking cool. Agni and Rudra is a little bit weird because they give them heads. Because the whole idea, Agni and Rudra, is that their heads are the hilt of their swords. But I can understand it's probably not cool to look at like a gaping hole in like the fucking like torso the whole time. So I can understand that they give them heads. That's fine. I thought their characterizations were funny because they're supposed to be kind of like that two brothers that are kind of like giving little jabs at each other and kind of, you know, they're demons, but they're kind of like, yeah, you know, we're here, we're gonna, you know, fight you and stuff like that. So they kind of got that pretty spot on for the most part. The only thing that's weird is that they're all here at the same time. Like these aren't just like ones that like look like them. Like these are the bosses of their respective games, like together here. Like I think they were here just because they looked cool, and they do look cool. But
What about the Ooze guy?
the ooze guy, he's a mini boss from 1. Plasma?
Yeah, Plasma.
Yeah, he is a mini boss from 1. Plasma is actually really cool. They did a lot more Plasma than Plasma in the game. Plasma was literally just a mini boss. You meet and fight and kill him, and he's done. That's it. So his characterization was actually a really cool change. That is a good example, at least to me, of an adaptation change in this. Like they made him mean something for the most part, and they actually gave him like boundaries for his powers because like he's able to copy people, but they have to be alive. So it's like, oh, he copied Virgil. Virgil might be alive, you know. So that was cool. That was a cool context. Also because it made him not kill a baby, so that was nice.
It seemed like he killed the baby to me, but
No, because they were on the bridge in the last episode. They were there. The mother and the
I
baby
guess that
were
was
there.
them. Yeah.
That it was
Like,
it
is
was
that them? There's
it's
a lot going on right now.
I looked it up. It was confirmed to be the same mother and child. They just got fucked that the whole week. They got fucked with their entire week.
What about Enzo? Is he in the games?
No, Enzo is a book slash the original anime, the 2000s anime that was made. Like he's from that. So he's a canon character, and actually Enzo's really good in this show. Enzo is actually exactly how Enzo should be. He is that grimy, like I'm going to be a friend to your face but stab you in the back because money kind of thing. There's a reason why he doesn't become his Dante's handler like for too long after that. Like he switches over to another guy that wasn't in the show yet, or is at all. I don't know. But Enzo is fine. He's actually pretty good in this show. The issue about having all of these boss characters in this show is that Dante like only fights one of them, and Lady kills the rest of them. Like Dante fights a few of them on the highway, but he really only kills, I think it was Agni when they're on the plane, or he fights Agni and Rudra.
he kills the demon guy, the angel demon.
He
Maybe
does.
not
He
on
does.
purpose.
He does. He does kill the angel demon. That's correct. That's correct. The portal. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I guess the portal kills the demon, I should say.
But Lady is like fighting off these demons. Right? Like these are like boss level demons that Lady a human. Like nothing has changed to her about like her being something other than human. Like she is just flat out human. And like Lady is very capable. Don't get me wrong, but like to fight off like these big fucking like demons that are killing her squad in seconds. And then all of a sudden Lady is supposed to be able to fight them off, even though her entire other squad that is very capable, like they are all a unit, because I guess she's a main character. She gets the plot armor. I don't know. And then the whole thing about like America invades the demon world. I don't know.
Plane flying over and dropping the nuke. I get what they're saying, but also it's like, this isn't what I expected.
Also, so Joel, remember the ending of that episode where it shows them in the demon world? They're somehow they like rapidly just built this like American facility.
Shit like the Pentagon too. Shit like the Pentagon.
In the demon world, a place where almost even like demons can't breathe because the land has gotten so like toxic. Like even most demons can't breathe that shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And the humans were able to fucking build that shit in like no time flat because America. That's a whole nother weird thing that I don't want to really get into. But the scene where they have Vice President Batman. Vice President Batman is looking over the entire facility, and the guy next to him, right? That guy is named. He is a devil. He is a Devil May Cry character. His name is Arius. Arius is the villain of Devil May Cry 2. So not only did they kind of just barely brush past like 3, they're just rapidly gonna get to there. It looks like they might be mashing 1 and 2 together, which doesn't make sense because Arius's whole thing is that because of the events of 1, of like Mundus being a thing and then like Dante killing Mundus, Arius wants to obtain the power of another demon king, Argisax, who was the guy that pretty much was like, oh, well, you know, Demon King, Mundus is gone, I'm going to be Demon King. And instead, it looks like what they're doing is like within the demon world, there is Mundus who took power and like fucked everything up. And then I guess Argisax is going to be like on the other half of the world, of the demon world. And now they're probably going to fight each other. I don't know. Arius is from like the least popular Devil May Cry game because it made no fucking sense at all. And it's literally a business, he is literally for all intensive purposes, he is like the Elon Musk of like legendary demon magic collecting business.
So Tesla's in the demon world. Got it. Okay.
Amazon warehouses of the demon world.
Yeah.
Damn, no wonder you guys weren't texting me back like, hey guys, I'm watching the show. I was like, damn.
Well, no, I binged the whole I binged the whole season in one night. I watched it all at once. Well, no, because I went in being like, oh man, I am excited for Devil May Cry because I thought this stuff was gonna get fucking wiped away. They announced it so long ago, it was a long enough time ago where they could have just like brushed it under the rug and be like, no, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really glad that it actually came out. And like I said, there's bits and pieces of it that I actually enjoyed. There was stuff that was very interesting. But you can tell the stuff that I thought was very interesting was stuff that barely had any context to begin with, or they were so minor that it felt right anyway, regardless of stuff they changed. But when it comes to like the major things that make what Devil May Cry isn't really represented properly, I was perplexed. When the season was over and after I was watching, I literally did not know how to feel. I was not excited. I was not like devastated. I was perplexed. Like I feel like this might be the first time I've watched something based off of a franchise I love and not know how to feel about it. I can look back on the anime from like 2007 and be like, yeah, that thing was pretty shit. But hey, we had a lot of cool things with Dante and Lady and Trish, and we got to see the Devil Trigger at the end of the show, which was pretty fucking sick. The theme song was not great, and the animation was kind of budgeted, but it was a canon piece of Devil May Cry that took place between 1 and 2. And we got to see the characters being the characters, having fun, doing random bullshit. Like taking jobs and slaying demons. That was cool. This, I feel like, looked like it had an agenda, and they used Devil May Cry to do it. To make their own version of Devil May Cry instead of being like...
It's a strange backdrop now that you say that. Like I think it would have been hitting harder. They just needed to change some characters around, and I mean, people will be like, "Hey, isn't that Devil May Cry?" But then, like, is it? I mean, they could even said like in the Devil May Cry universe, and I think I don't know. Would that? I mean, maybe switch some characters around.
They turned like Devil May Cry into a political action drama.
Did.
That's what they did. And you know what's funny? I didn't realize this until someone pointed it out to me. But Rolling is the theme song for this. Rolling, Limp Bizkit, cool, sick. The intro to the show is pretty sick. It has a lot of references that I appreciate. And like the direction for the intro of the show is cool. You want to know an interesting fact that I didn't realize until I found out about it afterwards? The music video for Rolling, like the original music video, was filmed on top of the World Trade Center.
Oh, I didn't know that.
For a show that is very, very coded in 9/11 America. Which I know it sounds like I'm like harping on it too much. Like that's fine. Like that idea is fine, but it feels like at that point, just make your own show. Like don't use Devil May Cry as like your scapegoat to like do whatever you want with it. And it's very puzzling to me because like we've talked about this a lot, like how good like Castlevania was, right?
Well, it's amazing.
Like Castlevania is a really good show, and like I know some people are hit or miss with Nocturne, but I thought Nocturne was really good, and I guess this
was great.
And I guess this can kind of like dovetail into like the whole idea about adaptations, but I guess like one of the complaints about like the Castlevania show is that it is loosely based off of Castlevania. But I think for that adaptation, what gives it credence is that they're basing it off of games that have no dialogue. It's like the
Yeah,
old
it's literally,
side-scrolling Castlevania games that literally
yeah,
have no dialogue. It's just you going left to right, right to left, whipping like ghouls and vampires
yeah.
and whatnot. So it
I mean,
leads
Dracula does say men are a miserable pile of lies. I will say that. But
Okay.
yes, there is
Okay.
no there's no like exchange every, during the level. There's no like, you are a vampire, I must slay you. It's your pile of lies. Well, let's fight.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I would love to learn, people. Hey, hey, you
But
were
like
wrong. Oh,
but
great.
like
More Castlevania.
to that end, an adaptation of Castlevania where, the aura around it feels like Castlevania. It looks like
Yeah.
Castlevania. The story might be a little different, but the ends justify the means, and it's like you still get a Castlevania story. The Devil May Cry show does not feel that way. It does not feel like a Devil May Cry show. It feels like we are going to use the backdrop of, 2000s America, and instead of using, people of Afghanistan, we're going to replace them with demons. And the demon world is Afghanistan. And America has to go fight those, you know,
Oh,
terrorists.
dang dirty demons.
Exactly. And it's like, what are we doing here? What is this shit?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, because this is the same studio. Like Adi Shankar and like the studio like made these shows, and so I kind of looked back. I looked through the history a little bit. So Castlevania and Castlevania Nocturne. Castlevania, Adi Shankar was the showrunner, executive producer. Castlevania Nocturne, he was the executive producer. Devil May Cry, he was the creator, showrunner, executive producer, and story writer. So this is literally an Adi Shankar
okay.
joint. Like,
I want to.
and I'm not saying like,
and I want to talk about something.
and this is not to like put shit on him because he has done other stuff that is really good. Like he's written and done other stuff. He made Captain Laserhawk, that Ubisoft show. It's a really good show. It's wild and random, which is what kind of like Blood Dragon it was for Far Cry. But on its face, it was an interesting, fun show. So I look at that and like, okay, like he can do stuff that's critically claimed, like critically regarded as something like of quality. And then you bounce back to Devil May Cry. And it's like, what the fuck happened? Like, was it just that they kind of let him just run loose and like do whatever he wanted?
Yes, with everything you've explained to me, yeah. I also think, like, kind of leading to other adaptations and just like what we've seen lately, it's a shame to see, like, you could tell when something's just thrown out and it's like they didn't consult someone or they didn't rewrite. And I think Devil May Cry suffers from that. The show, I should say. You could tell it's kind of like, akin to what we used to say about, what I said, my wife said, J.K. Rowling with like some of the newer Fantastic Beasts movies. It's like, just let her do what she's going to do. Don't tell her how to do it, And it's like, look what happens. Like I did like the first Fantastic Beasts movie, but also it's like, well, these other movies aren't, it's kind of like disappointing. And then it's just someone, understand there are hierarchies, right? I think about this a lot. An actor is in a movie or a show and it's bad. You have to respect the writer, the director, everyone's putting in time. Yes, but also, it's also, I guess, career ending. Like be like, hey, this is bad,
Like there should be checks and balances.
Time? No, exactly. And, as an artist, like, I will admit, I don't like to be checked. Fuck no. Let me do my shit. But at the same time, it's like, how do you get better? I've surrounded myself with some great artists, And it's like, damn, I gotta level up my game. At the same time, they're like, just do whatever, man. It really depends. But like, I saw Ballerina last night, the John Wick spinoff. Really good action. Writing was even better than the other John Wick movies. But you know what we learned? It was in dire straits. They had to reshoot the action. It was so bad. You know,
I didn't
the
know that.
original coordinator, it was like, this is unacceptable for John Wick. You know, John Wick is very cookie cutter plot, but it's like you're not watching
Their action scenes are
right?
fucking top notch.
No, exactly. And then we came out of Ballerina like, wow, like there was some shit. I was like cringing. I yelled like, oh fuck, like 3 times. Like, you're telling me they had to reshoot this? Like, what the fuck was it before? And you know, good on Chad Stahelski being like, this is unacceptable. But when does that come in? You know, I think
I don't know.
if you want a property to do well, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, you know, it's the Netflix show isn't generating money, I guess. So it's okay. It's a loss for them. And other businesses, like, it's like, we make this movie. Is it to make money or art? There's that, you know, conversation too. But it just, you know, sometimes it's like, I don't know, like consultants and rewrites is like, it does cost extra money, but it's like, do you want it to suffer? Like, I think that's like a bigger conversation too. You know?
For sure. I will say though, a positive about the Devil May Cry show is that it got new people in, and because of it, Devil May Cry 5 reached past 10 million copies sold. So
When did it come out?
5 came out in 2019.
Oh shit! So the resurgence brought people in.
Yeah. So that's good. So it's, in a way, I can be very frustrated with what the show is. But then on the flip side, to kind of contradict myself a little bit, it's still good that there are people that are enjoying it and are getting them interested in Devil May Cry. That makes them want to go reach out and see the other stuff from Devil May Cry. So it's kind of like the silver lining of like, I don't think the show is all that great, but if it can get more people into Devil May Cry and make it more popular, and maybe we can get a game more than once every 10 years, that'd be cool. That'd be awesome.
Cries in Mega Man.
Cries in Mega Man. But yeah, I don't, and I'm just kind of looking at this. Apparently, I forgot that they announced this, but it looks like they're gonna also be doing an Assassin's Creed adaptation.
Same.
Up
Is it
next-
Adi Shankar as well?
He is executive producing it.
Okay, that's good. Is he writing it?
No.
Is he writing it?
And they actually just announced that they're also going to be doing a Duke Nukem.
Oh yeah,
my
I
God.
shared that on the thing. I don't.
Which I feel
There
like
are
it's,
some things. I don't. I'm not an '80s kid. I don't. That doesn't excite me. But I mean, again, it's not. I don't know.
I don't know, but like I think Duke Nukem, like even when they finally brought out like that game from like a long time ago, even it was dated then, so it's just like, okay, I don't know.
Solar.
Ben says, "You hear that, Audie? You do not get the Brian endorsement." So here's the thing, like he's produced like good stuff. Like I'm not taking that away from him. He's produced a lot of really interesting, cool things. It just so happens that he also wrote and, you know, headed the one that I was very, very, very excited about, and I am not pleased with a lot of it.
I think now that we're talking about it, before I forget, it's kind of like the Tomb Raider show on Netflix. It's
Still haven't watched it.
it's a cool adventure, but it's adaptation wise, it's not strong. You know, we stopped watching it. I'm like mildly curious to see the story plays out, but the first 2 episodes weren't good. I like it's literally it picks up to get better. But yeah, it's just like, who is, you know, I don't know. Is it like what I said earlier? Is there an executive yelling at the writer, "Get this out"? Like, I don't care. Like, I
don't know.
No, either. I just
To get you in this conversation, Joe, I'm going to ask you this question. In your opinion, what is the line between having something being a good adaptation of a property versus when it kind of just tips over a little too far to what is this territory?
I mean, I think it's kind of a hard question to answer because you're kind of walking the line between you've got your diehard fans on one side, and
Mhm.
you've got people who are like, yeah, this is cool. Like I appreciate this IP. So it's just good to get more content, for the world that has been created. This is kind of how I felt about, for example, like the One Piece live adaptation. Like, I thought that shit was terrible. And I've got people all around me being like, "You're crazy, you're insane, that shit's so good, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, no, I think it's terrible. So, I don't know. I think so. For me, there's like two main things that I look for in an adaptation. Like one, like how true do you stay to the source material is, essential for me.
Okay.
Like, which is I think one of the things that the One Piece show did really well. Like it was the anime with real human beings. But then you also kind of need to look at like, okay, what is the source material that we're adapting?
Hmm.
And for me, like this happens a lot with like anime adaptations into live action.
Hmm.
Like the source material is super fantastical
Yes.
and not realistic at all.
Right.
And then you go into live action, and in order to make it like live action, you can't CGIify the people all that much.
Right.
You've like just in the first season of, I'm just gonna keep using One Piece as the reference here.
Hey, go for
Don Krieg is like 8 feet tall. Like he's
it.
fucking huge. And they made like, I mean, I think Don Krieg is in the second season, if I remember correctly. I don't quite remember where the first season of the One Piece show ended.
they
first
they
is a sleep show, I
just
think.
they beat
Later.
they went to Arlon Park.
Okay. So even with Arlong, like Arlong is also like a 7 foot tall,
But
massive shark man.
but I think they got away with it because they made the prosthetics look really good.
Sure, they made the prosthetics look really good, but the actor's still like 6'2". Like he's not as imposed. Like One Piece is built around these larger than life characters.
Hmm.
Like you've got massive dudes. I mean, even Pearl on Don Krieg's crew is like 450 pounds of dude, and like you just don't get that. And I think for me, like that's where it's immersion breaking for me,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
and that's where I lose it. I also just, I mean, I just could, the actor that they chose to play Luffy, like, just irritated the crap out of me. Which also makes me think, like, oh yeah, Luffy's kind of a shit person, like, when you really get down to it. Like he's kind of an asshole when you really get down to
I
it.
mean, a
Like
little bit, but
I don't think he and I could be friends in real life. But I mean, but that's the main thing, is like when it comes to, like, for me, what makes an adaptation good versus bad is like how true do you stick to the source material,
Mhm.
and how immersive do you make the show? And I think that this is why excuse me, Cyberpunk Edge Runners was such a great show as an
Oh yeah,
adaptation of a game. I mean, first they establish it as like this is kind of the prequel to
like
the
this
game.
is in the world of cyberpunk.
Exactly. And but not only that, but when it came to the game itself, because they did a whole rebrand of the game, they take the aspects of the game that they don't really explain all that much, and then they explain it in the show. And then they say, okay, now that you know what it is, here's, if you want to play as this character from the show, here's what you can do in the video game to be the character that you loved from the show.
That's really cool.
And so for me, I'm like, that's a grade A adaptation right there. I mean, and just like the anime itself, you had great storytelling, great animation, great voice acting. I mean, I don't know what other people think about it, but for me, it was it's very well done.
That was made by Studio Trigger, right?
I think so.
Cyberpunk.
Still need to watch it. I forgot about it. And Arcane.
And then, also to Ben's point in the chat, I think it's very dependent on whether the source material itself is good to begin with, too.
Yeah, that too. Good point.
Who was the studio that made this?
Yeah, we've definitely seen, like, I like to talk about Cowboy Bebop a lot. That is like one of the most amazing pieces of media ever made. And then they did a live action where they couldn't decide to go goofy or serious.
It was so Cowboy Bebop, bad.
It is. I love it, and I know it's bad, but they didn't lean in on both. They only leaned in on one.
Okay,
Cowboy Bebop is equally seriously and fucking campy goofies, but
yeah.
I feel really bad about the Cowboy Bebop live action because it started out actually being very enjoyable, and it wasn't until they like went really hard on the like, we need to make this different, and then the whole plot twist happened, and it's just like, ooh, I don't know about this. And then we got to see what Ed would have looked like, and it's like, ooh, yeah, good thing this show is canceled because I would not enjoy watching a 20-something-year-old acting like a fucking kid. A very visibly like 20-something-year-old acting like a child. It was very cringe. But we got the seatbelts to do new arrangements of their music, so that was really good. That was nice.
Yeah, but again, I think it kind of goes back to like not every piece of media is going to be good for adaptations to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, you've got diehard fans and you've got people who just appreciate an IP. You're never going to please everybody.
100%.
And so, just kind of from what I've been listening with the Devil May Cry stuff, as someone like me who has no frame of reference for any of the Devil May Cry like lore or story or franchise, any of that, it sounds like it'll be
a fun time.
What it is, it's going to be a great fun watch.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But then listening to someone who knows about, you're like, this makes no fucking sense. Like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
And be like, oh, okay, now I know. Don't expect it to be
the same. No, it's not.
This is the Devil May Cry story. It's like, no, this is clearly an original adaptation. They made some creative choices.
Yeah,
also,
certainly did.
I just remembered this one point that I wanted to make beforehand, and I'll get off my soapbox. So the whole through line with Devil May Cry, the show, is that all demons are not bad. All demons are just people, and they deserve to be treated like people. They are under the thumb of a dictator ruler that, they just want to live a nice, happy, healthy life. And then when Dante uses his devil trigger for the first time, and I think it was Enzo or somebody asks him, how did it feel? And it's like, it feels like all the rage that was inside of me just wanted to lash out and like murder and kill. And it's like, what the total dissonance is that? Because you're trying to one hand be like, oh, all demons are not bad, demons are just regular people, But then when you have your main character who has a touch of like being a demon for the first time, it's like, oh, I was rageful and I wanted to fucking kill people, like kill fucking. It's like, what the fuck? What happened?
They're just like, shut up, Johnny Young Bosch. Just read the line. just
And also, just to clarify, in like Devil May Cry, like lore proper, pretty much most demons are pieces of shit. Like, there's no like, there's good demons and there's bad. Like, the whole point is like Dante and Virgil are half demon, half human. Dante leans more onto his human side. Virgil leans more onto his demon side, which is like the thirst for power and shit. All the other demons you meet in Devil May Cry are pieces of shit. And they want to kill you because they hated Dante's dad. Therefore, they hate Dante and they want him fucking dead.
Well, they're going to hate humans now because we fucking nuked them.
Yep, 100%.
That'll do it.
I will say, though, the
Pentagon prison.
episode 6, the one that was the flashback of Lady and the White Rabbit, fantastic,
That was a really good episode.
fantastic episode. Like honestly, Joby, like I would say watch the show so you can see that episode because it was a really, really well done episode. It was basically, it was the episode that was supposed to show you the differences between Lady and White Rabbit and how they grew up and like what their childhood led them towards. And what was very cool is that when the White Rabbit was in the demon world, they changed the art style completely and it was gorgeous.
It was like Scott Pilgrimish, honestly.
It was like Scott Pilgrim, but like hand drawn and hand colored.
Okay.
It was fucking amazing. And there's almost no dialogue, so it's like dialogueless like episode except for like the very final moments of the episode. And it's just basically like you going through their childhood and seeing how they got to the point they're at in the show. And it was really cool. Also, they show why the White Rabbit is doing what he's doing, and it's because Lady and her group of fucking commando fuckers literally gunned down refugees.
Mm-hmm.
And they specifically pointed at the children first.
That was a choice that they made.
As an actual big scary demon was coming through the portal and started eating the other like demon refugees, they shot the women and children first. Not the big scary demon that was literally killing people. The fucking refugees. What the fuck happened?
Batman happened.
Okay, I'm off my soapbox. I'm done. Watch it if you want. It's up to you. I said my piece. However, I will make a recommendation. Speaking of live action anime adaptations, if you've never seen the Rurouni Kenshin live action movies, I would suggest at least trying the first one and seeing how you feel, because surprisingly, out of all the other live action anime adaptations that were ever made, these ones feel really good and they look really good. The Wicks kind of look weird, but action wise, everything looks really, really good. And it's a good like condensing of like the Rurouni Kenshin story.
I think they did a good job with them.
I think there's 3 of them, and I think they made like another. I don't know if it was a prequel or if it was like a Samurai X thing, but like they're all really good. But I suggest trying the first one. We rewatched it just recently again, and it's like, damn, this thing is still like filmed really well. Like the acting was done pretty good, and they actually got they had the dub version, and they had the actual voice actors do their characters in the dub version, which is
Oh, nice.
I thought was a good touch. Like not a lot of people do that. I think it's more common nowadays, but like when these came out back then, that wasn't as common. So it was like nice that they actually did that.
You know what's a terrible live action anime adaptation? Like absolutely should never have been made.
Is it Full Metal Alchemist?
No,
Yu Yu Hakusho?
no. The live action
I
Sailor
forgot about
Moon.
that. Wait, there's a live action Sailor Moon?
Yeah.
I think I remember hearing about that.
It,
What?
live action Sailor Moon. It's atrocious.
Buried for a
Okay.
reason, Brian.
Yeah.
It's buried for a reason.
There's probably a reason why you never heard of it.
Like I know they made like a newer version of Sailor Moon, like Sailor Moon Z, but I never heard about a
Yeah.
live action.
Yep.
Oh,
The costumes
Hold on. I
look
need to look this
like
up.
they were like purchased off of Temu.
Sailor Moon.
And
Live.
the like I mean I kind of get what they were like trying to
Oh
do
my
with it.
God.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
This-
That reaction right there.
This looks like a cosplay magazine that you'd see at Nino Kuniya.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. This looks.
Yeah. It was
I'm
bad.
sorry.
That it was an hour and a half of my life that I'm never getting back. I regret it.
Wait. Was this a stage show?
There was a stage show.
Okay, so this is not the stage show.
No.
Okay.
No,
Oh,
it was-
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay. We will talk about G Savior, Ben. Get G Savior out.
I don't even know what G.
Finally, someone bringing in true late Gundam lore. Gee, savior. Yes.
G Savior was like a 2000s
Anyway,
live action,
moving on.
American made live action Gundam.